Hey everybody, it's Moonbo here, and welcome back to more Endless Scrap Mechanic. In today's episode of Scrap Mechanic Creations, we are going to be checking out a truly epic build that has been requested quite a few times, and it is a missile silo. So this build was a lot of fun. It is a combination of tile editor as well as building, and you can see it looks like just like a massive platform, but this thing is actually underground. So we're going to be going underground, we're going to check it all out, we're going to launch some missiles, and we are also going to hop into the tile editor, and I will show you guys how I did this and maybe inspire you guys to make some of your own underground stuff as well. So let's get right into this video. Alright, so we're going to start off with a quick visual tour of the missile silo, and then we're going to move on to discussing some of the issues that I had and some of the things I had to overcome in this build. So as you can see though, this is one massive platform. Now I will mention that this entire big platform here, the gray one, was used in the tile editor, so it's actually part of the world, and that is actually where some of the issues arose when it came to building this. But as you can see, we can walk the entire perimeter of the top of the silo here, and you can see there's a massive cover. This thing is huge, it's covering the entire silo. We'll get that opened up in a bit, and you can see there is some emergency lighting and all sorts of really cool stuff that wraps around the entire thing as well. And I like to start there. I was sitting on top of the radio tower because, you know, we got to keep control of these missiles that we're launching. So obviously though, you need to get underground to access the control station. So all we got to do is walk over here, guys. We have ourselves a nice elevator. We can open up the doors there and shut them again, and this way we can actually bring ourselves all the way down. And there we go, we have arrived at the control center here of the missile silo. It's kind of like a bunker, actually, because we are so deep underground right now. But we can walk up to these main stairs here, and this is actually the main control chair of the entire missile silo. I just kind of threw together a pretty cool looking kind of console for down here. I just kind of duplicated it a few times, as you can see, but pretty cool stuff. It really does make this look pretty nifty down here in the basement of the missile silo. But we can actually control it all from right here. Now it's kind of funny because you can't really see everything happening from right here. So if we press the 1 key, that will control the doors right there, and if we press the 2 key, that will actually open up the entire missile silo. So before we do that though, let's go over here. We're going to open up this little side door here, and there we go. Look at this. Now, this is probably my favorite part of the missile silo. We got some stairs that bring us up into this really awesome tube. So, it really gives you that awesome sense of being underground. You can see, like, we did take the elevator way down below, and this is where it leads us to. We were just standing up on top of all of this, guys. Look at this. This is the missile silo. So there's a few things I can mention about the missile silo, as well as the missile, in fact. So this is all part of the tile editor as well. Like I said, we'll be going in there, and I'll show you guys what I did really quickly so you guys can try and make some of your own underground stuff as well. But now this is pretty cool. So the missile, we do have to spawn it all the way down at the bottom right there, as you can see. It's a very tall one. And it does look kind of skinny, I suppose. I wanted to make a bigger missile, but unfortunately, the larger size would have been a lot laggier, and there's actually not always a lot of room. I noticed this here. If we step out right here, you can see we're actually floating on an invisible hitbox, and we'll talk about that in the tile editor, but there's an invisible hitbox here, which actually kind of limited the size in which I could make the missile. But I mean, ultimately this missile still looks really, really awesome, and it's really funny actually because you manually fly the missile from the silo, which is probably one of my favorite parts here. So you can see I have a spot marked down at the bottom here, so let's just get our lift out. We can try and find a spot that we can actually put this down, and that's kind of talking about the hitboxes there I was mentioning. You got to be very careful up there and where those invisible ones are. Alright, so we'll grab that. I don't think I'll be able to do it with that right there. Or anywhere at all. Alright, this is really bugging out right now, but I think I've got it right there. Okay, perfect. That was That was hard on the eyes. Alright, so now we have the missile respawned right back in the center right here. So let's go and open up the silo top. So you can see I put some chairs here, and these are kind of like simulating what you would imagine like a ladder to be, but it pops you up right here at the main level of the silo. And then over on this side here, I have one more set of chairs to simulate another ladder, and this would be like an emergency ladder to get you all the way up to the top of the silo. Alright, so we're gonna head right back over to the main control seat over here like this. Actually, we'll shut that door right there for now. Alright, so this is something that's really cool. So if we sit right here like this, guys, and I press the 2 key, you can see there the emergency lighting has lit up. It's starting to spin, and that is actually warning everybody in the command center that the top has been opened. So now we can walk over here, and you can see that the entire top of the silo is opened, and we are actually ready for launch. Now, before we actually launch this missile, I do want to mention a really interesting thing that I had to do. And if you didn't notice, look at this, guys. There are some wireways built into this silo, and it was awesome, actually. So I could have used anything. I could have just used a simple old block and dragged it along and gotten the same effect that way when it comes to connecting things, but I decided, you know what, I am actually going to use the wires in Scrap Mechanic to physically wire something together. So you can see these wires actually go all the way into the wall right here, and then they come out again right here on either side and connect into that center console right there. And that is because this is all part of the tile editor right here. You can see if I try and build, you'll notice that it will actually build underneath it, and that is because this bottom part here is not really part of Scrap Mechanic and all the buildings. So I had to wire it all together like this, and you can see the wire runs all the way through that main tunnel, and the wires go all the way up to the top there, and we did see it not too long ago that everything was connected up there. So, you know what, before we fire this missile, let's go up to the top. We're going to take a look at the actual top opening, and I'll show you guys a cool way to wire this. So we might as well just take this emergency ladder right here. You guys can see how that works. There's one last seat right here in the red, and boom, there we go. We have popped out on top. Now, just look at this view, though. Doesn't that just look epic? I never thought I'd see something like this in Scrap Mechanic. But this was suggested to me by viewers like you, so always leave suggestions down in the comments, guys. It's what keeps me completely inspired in this game. Alright, so this is where the wires actually rise all the way up out of the silo and across the platform here to a little junction box. And this is where kind of like all the magic happens. So you can see there's a logic gate right here, as well as an electric little modded motor right there. So these things are what control everything up top here. You can see there is also the lights spinning around in each corner there. And over here, this is where the controller for the entire top is located, right there in that spot. So it's all tied into this one logic block here. And the reason why I did that was because I wanted to be able to put a switch here. All you got to do is hook that switch up right there to the logic block like so. And then if you want to have a nice view of the entire thing, then all you got to do is put a seat down. I guess, you know what, we actually have to keep it all together here, but we'll put a seat down right there. We'll hook that up to the switch, maybe paint that our color, and if we press the 1 key now, there you go, you can see the platform will now shut. Alright, so there's a few things I did have to do with this platform to make it work properly, and the first thing you'll probably notice is over there on the left, there are some pistons that rise it up like so, and then once they get risen, the whole thing shoots itself all the way over and then stops just like that. Now, I used extremely light modded blocks. You can see by the color here, this is the default color of the extra light blocks in the mod pack there. So these were very useful in designing this door, but they are also very tricky to use. So I ended up having to put some stoppers on this backside right here, and I put those pistons there to cushion the landing as well as ease the rise, because this whole thing literally spins on 2 bearings. There's a bearing right here and a bearing over there. So normally something this large would never get lifted by a couple bearings on a controller, but because it's extra light and I have a little bit of aid there, the whole thing just kind of works a lot better. So let's see the example of that coming down. And the pistons Boom, you can see the pistons stop it from glitching, and then the pistons will just slowly drop it down just like that. And then we have our missile silo covered. But, of course, guys, we're here to launch some missiles, right? So let's open that thing back up again, and we're gonna hop into that missile. Alright, so of course to fly the missile you have to get inside, and I figured, you know what, the best spot for the seat would probably be all the way down here. I believe it should be in, yeah, this block right here is a modded invisible seat. So that way when you get into it, you can't even see yourself anymore. You are literally the block now, and that was perfect for recording the missile and also kind of getting your own personal visual effects while you are actually launching this thing. So let's kind of set the camera up, maybe, something like this, and we will get a really nice rise while the entire missile goes up. So we're gonna launch this thing in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. We are now getting some lift. Look at this, guys. The missile is leaving the silo. Oh man, this looks so awesome. Look at this. We can change the view, and there it is, guys. The missile has made it. Now here's the fun part. We can bring up the buttons and the switches, and we are actually a missile now. We can actually fly this missile around. So let's just kind of aim ourselves over this way. Now look at this. Now we are just a missile going in this direction, and we are leaving the missile silo. Look at that. That looks so cool from up here. Alright, so we can actually steer this thing all the way back over. It does have left and right tilt as well as forward and back. So if we just kind of line this up like this, you can see we can tilt it this way by pressing 4 and 5. And if we press 2 and 3, it'll tilt us the other way. So we have full control in every axis of the missile. And so that way, you could literally hit whatever target you wanted. Alright, so I'm thinking, though, we might as well try and land this thing back into the silo. You know, that's probably the most ill-advised thing you could ever do with a missile and a silo. But maybe this is just some type of rocket, maybe. You know, maybe we're not launching missiles out of this thing. Alright, so nice and easy now. We're gonna ease this back into the silo. Alright, we're getting nice and close now. Let's line ourselves up. We are still slowly falling. Alright, we're getting closer. I did not change our lineup a little bit too much here, so you can see we're actually easing right back into the silo very easily. Alright, there's the big white X, marks the spot. Let's just slowly drop this in. Uh-oh, I pressed the wrong button. And, alright, well, we still made it back into the silo with no issue. So obviously we could just put this on a lift and pop it right back into the center there. I mean, I don't really have anything to shoot at with this thing without probably destroying the game anyway. But now, guys, it's time we head on into the tile editor, and I will show you guys really quickly what I did to get this underground effect. Alright, so this is the blank tile with no building whatsoever, obviously, so you can actually see what is going on here. So this is the silo, the original design of it, of course. This is using Schizo's awesome custom asset mod here in the tile editor. I'll show you guys a couple things in the new world in a second, but you can see that this is just one massive empty box like this. So here we have the actual tunnel right down here. And this is where I built the elevator that goes all the way down to the, kind of like the command center right here. I was thinking of putting multiple floors into it, but I was like, you know what? I think we would have enough just by building it down right here at the main level. So you can see, though, that's what's going on. If we go underneath the ground here, you can see this is really what is happening, and it's actually really cool. This is what, like, a missile silo looks like. And I was looking at images online to try and create the best effect when it came to a missile silo, and I think seeing it here in the tile editor, this really does give you that sense of it being a legitimate missile silo. But I'm going to open up a blank world really fast and show you guys the quickest way to do this. Okay, brand new tile here. So this is what you're going to want to do, though. You're going to want to go to height, and you're going to want to probably just bring the strength all the way up to the top here. This is usually the fastest thing to do if you want to, you know, create deeper holes and stuff like that. But so basically what I did was I just kind of located myself on the tile editor, and then I just hold down control, and control is what's going to decrease the terrain height. So there you go. You can see I am just very quickly punching a big hole in the terrain. So this is kind of like how I started the design of the actual silo. So in this case here, though, we can just switch over to flatten, go right to the center of that little point right there, and you will get yourself a very quick and very easy kind of cylindrical shape in the tile editor here that's going underground. So there we go. Now we have ourselves a pretty cool looking hole in the ground. So all you got to do is obviously fill that up with some type of missile silo stuff. Over here in the asset library, you can see Schizo has added all sorts of really awesome modded assets. And right here, this is the one that I used, and it was the corrugated tube. Now, obviously spawning this thing just like this here, you can tell it's pretty small, right? So the beauty of this, of course, is you can change the size in the tile editor. So what I did was I basically just tried to kind of find the center of it right here, and then I just made it about the size of the hole that I had created in the ground, like so. And so here you go, you can see we have the beginning of a missile silo now. I tried to make it as flush to the top as I could, and then you just duplicate this a whole bunch of times, like so. And there you go, guys. Look at that. You start to really see a missile silo take shape. And now, obviously, there is some stuff that you can add to the bottom here. I added one of these round kind of disc-shaped edges for the corrugated stuff here. So I would just simply bring this up to about the right height here and make this extremely large as well. And there you go. Look at that. Now you can just kind of cover up the bottom here, you know, try and center everything the best you can to make it all look as nice as possible. And there you go, look at that. We now have ourselves a silo. The tricky part, though, was connecting the two sections together. So if we actually kind of situate ourselves somewhere around here, you can see if we take the height again and actually just bring it down a little bit smaller than that. Well, a lot smaller than that. All right, and then you just kind of flatten it out in this way here. You don't want to move too fast, obviously, because if you do move too fast, then everything kind of really screws up. Now, this is not working very good. The flatten tool sometimes is a pain in the butt. But you can see I just kind of made a space like that there, and then I made another big one over here, like this, and that's where I put the box in, and I created the tunnel. It was pretty tricky getting the tunnel to connect to the silo, because obviously you can see here, there is no actual hole for a tunnel, so I had to get pretty creative with how I did it. But hopefully that gives you guys maybe a couple little quick tips or something on how you guys can make your own underground stuff in the tile editor. Actually, I should probably finish with one of the important parts, which is the grass block. So the grass block is probably your lifesaver when it comes to actually designing a tile like this. You can very easily flush this up with the top of the grass here, like so, and duplicate it a few times, and there you go. You can actually patch up holes like that if you don't have the means to cover it any other way. And then you can actually put assets there, like the brushes and also trees and stuff like that. You can very easily put it on the grass out on the side here, and then bring it on over to somewhere that would actually make it look as if you were on the actual grass in the game there. Alright, so there you have it, guys. That is the missile silo in Scrap Mechanic. I sure hope you guys did enjoy this build or the video, and if you did, then let me know, please, by hitting that like button. If you want to see more Endless Scrap Mechanic, then guys, subscribe to the channel, maybe even turn on your notifications so you can get the latest and the craziest coming from me in Scrap Mechanic. So I guess, guys, I got one more launch in me here, and I will be seeing you the next one, so bye for now.